this little segment, we're going to talk about stacking targets. I'm just going to run through a couple of examples that we hear about a lot and how you would be able to handle them in Drakewell. So stacking targets is think of it like stepping stones across a path, across a pond or whatever. So you are here and this is your current survey and you want to end up here and then you want to go here and then you want to drop. And that is a very crazy wellbore. Do not drill that. But the whole point is that you start here, and this can be stacked target 1, stacked target 2, and stacked target 3. So you're basically stacking those targets on top of each other, and then drilling that path. So a couple of situations that we see. So if you're just getting started, if you're going to spud a well. A lot of times what we will see is you can sort of rebuild your well plan by stacking 3 targets together, and then that whole stacked target list will automatically update and keep you on the plan, and then if you get off, it will tell you how to constantly get back on as you drill. So what that would look like in Drakewell is you've loaded your well plan in, you've created your path, and you've got a tie-in point for your as-drilled surveys. What you can then do is, that's typically at zeros, what you can then do is you can do a straight to TVD target, and you could name that to kickoff point. And so you would say, I want you to take me, whatever, down to your kickoff point, whatever that it may be, take me down to 10,500 feet. Then you add another target. You do a 3D build. That would be, land curve. And you would enter sort of your 90, your ink, and the TVD at which you would want to land your curve. Maybe it's a 1,000-foot curve, so maybe but you were only dropping 500 feet, so whatever that may be. So what this looks like is a simulated well plan of a kickoff. There's your target 1, and here's your target 2. Okay, and then we want to finish drilling the lateral, obviously. So I would stack a 3rd target on top of that, and I might call that straight to MD, right? So what I would name it, maybe TDing the well. And my measured depth would be, if I'm drilling a couple mile lateral, whatever that is. Somewhere you'd probably end up around 20,000 feet depth to the well. So what I have now is I've got 3 targets and I've stacked them on top of each other. So I have my little stepping stones throughout my well. All I do now is go back up to the top of my screen where I'm adding survey slides and rotates. And as you start drilling, all of these projected paths are going to update. So remember to continuously check your 2D plot or your 3D plot if you want to kind of have an idea of where you're at in space, because your blue path will always be your plan, your red path will always be your as drilled, and then anything that turns gray in any of the plots, and then in the traveling cylinder, your gray will be these projected points. Another example that we see a lot is a situation where maybe you are getting higher build rates than you wanted after you kick off. So let's say you get into a position where you kicked off and your J curve said to do this, but you're getting higher than normal build rate. So what you actually did was you ended up here. And what will happen if you're not paying attention, because you still have to know how to drill a well. We're not teaching you how to drill a well. We're teaching you, and the intent of this is to show you how Drakewell can help give you visibility to 1,000 feet down the well, right? That's kind of where you guys want to be thinking as drillers is, okay, I need to be thinking ahead of where I actually am right now. That's a good thing to do. So we want to help you do that in a more easy way. So I was supposed to do this, but I've actually done this. So in a situation like that, what you would be able to do is, we all know that what you don't want to do, you do not want to just drop. That is a very, very, very bad thing. On the completion side, we hate that. That makes it really hard to get casing down. So we do not want to do that. What we would want to do then is we would want to add a motor yield projection. We would want to stack a motor yield with a 3D build. Okay? So what we would do is we would want to hold that motor yield, that build, and that tool phase for kind of as long as we can. And so we would have a motor yield here that we would stack, and that would hold that for as long as we see fit, whatever distance you would want. So if we wanted to be getting 10s, but we're getting 12s, we're just, okay, well, we're gonna hold 12s and hold as long as we want. And then you could actually stack a 3D build. So remember, that was your ink as TVD. On top of that, that will help you drop and smooth that curve down. So again, if you get into a situation like this and those projections are telling you, well, we need to drop and that's not the right thing to do, no big deal. You can actually edit those. You don't have to delete targets. You can just edit them. So you could turn the original 3D build curve you have. You could change that to a motor yield, and you could put that here, and then you could add that you could modify the straight to measure depth that we built in the prior example. So you could change that to a 3D build here, and then you could stack another projection on top of that. And that would allow you, again, to continue drilling. This will only take you, I bet this would take you less than a minute to do, but then you can continue drilling and Drakewell will continue to help you follow that path.